Hello, everyone. My name is Paolo Barlera. I'm the interim director of the Italian Cultural Institute in New York, and I'm very happy to welcome you to the second episode of Until Further Notice, a webinar series organized by the Italian Cultural Institute and devoted to discussing how many aspects of contemporary art are changing in this time of health emergency. Today we'll be looking at contemporary art from the point of view of art galleries, and I'm pleased to welcome to the show Francesco Cipioni, director of Muchacha Gallery in New York, and Luigi Matsoleni, director of Mazzoleni Art of Torino in Italy.
Good afternoon and good evening to everybody.
To lead the webinar and the conversation, we're also pleased to have with us Maurita Cardone, who has conceived the idea of this series of webinars and is coordinating the entire series. Thank you all for being with us this afternoon, this evening, and over to you, Maurita. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paolo, and thank you everyone for being here today. Welcome to this second episode of Until Further Notice. Today, as Paolo said, we have the pleasure of having with us Luigi Matsoleni, who is the director of Mazzoleni Art and lives and works between Torino and London. And tonight for him, he is joining us from London, where he just got. And we also have Francesco Cipioni, who is the director of recently opened Muchacha Gallery in New York. And today he is joining us from Rome, though he usually is based in New York. I am going to briefly introduce Luigi and Francesco, and then we'll start with our conversation. You will have an opportunity at the end of our talk to ask questions. You're gonna have to use the Q&A tool that you should have on the bottom of your screen. So stay with us until the end so you can ask questions and take part in the conversation. All right, let me introduce the two guests. Here we are. So, soon after graduating in art history and politics, Luigi Matsoleni developed an entrepreneurial attitude and joined, with the role of co-director, the family gallery that had been founded in 1986 by his parents as a result of 2 decades of collecting post-war Italian art. Being increasingly involved with the family business, Luigi and his brother Davide, CEO of the Torino Gallery, expanded their horizon, joining the most important international art fairs, where they experienced firsthand their interest and wide demand for the post-war Italian art. To fulfill this trend, Luigi decided to open a flagship gallery in London in October 2014. Since then, his London gallery has featured artworks by Alberto Burri, Alighiero Boetti, Agostino Bonalumi, Lucio Fontana, Hans Hartung, Joseph Kossut, Piero Manzoni, Michelangelo Pistoletto, and many others. More recently, Mazzoleni Art has also started to work with young and emerging artists, including the US-based Melissa McGill. Originally from Rome, Francesco Cipioni moved to New York at age 20. After a 1-year course at Christie's Education, he enrolled at the Parsons School of Design, where he obtained a degree in strategic design and management. He immediately began his journey in the world of art, curating exhibitions at GR Gallery in New York and collaborating with some of the most prominent emerging artists of the American scene, including Felipe Pantone, of whom he curated the first exhibition ever in the US, Joshua Vides, Meguro Yamaguchi, Joan Corneilla, and many others. In 2019, he began working at the new Muchacha Gallery in New York. The space was inaugurated with a retrospective of Yayoi Kusama with works from 1951 to 2008. So I would like to start with a little bit of context. I'm not seeing, okay, I'm seeing everybody now. A little bit of context. So from the beginning, and the beginning of all this is March and the lockdown. So I would like to ask you both, how long have your galleries been closed for when the lockdown started? And if you decided to close them, to shut down the galleries voluntarily, or if you were mandated by local governments, how long were you closed and when you reopened? A little bit of context. Tell us how it went. Luigi, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Marita. Yeah, it started actually, I think actually in London and mainly in all the country in Europe. We started more or less in the same period. It was around the mid-March, between mid-March and end of March. It depends actually how the pandemic infect actually the single country. We've been actually I cannot say we've been forced actually, but it was there was an instruction from the government to work from home, and when the pandemic started here in London, there was nobody around, so we immediately realized that it was the only option to close the gallery, work from home, and eventually me and the director at the time, we were going almost every morning in the gallery to do some work, but there was nothing else to do. We were close from as I say, the mid-March through mid-June, more or less. But we were follow actually instruction from the government. That was the only things to do at the time.
So you were close for the same amount of time in both locations, in Italy and in London?
No, as probably everybody knows, in Italy we start earlier, and then we of course open 3 or 4 weeks earlier than London. You know, was just reflected the pandemic situation between the different countries. So we start early there, like beginning of March, and here arrive a bit later. So there was a gap of 1 month gap between the two galleries, more or less.
Okay, Francesco.
Well, about in New York, the situation was a bit different. We were actually having the city in full force, and out of the blue, like we were in the middle of March as well. But the first big name that announced its closure was Pace Gallery, before the government forced us to shut down. And I think we were around March 17th. And then suddenly all the galleries started posting announcement that they were closing the same day. We actually waited the end of the week, but then we were forced by the government and we closed on March 17th. And we reopened on June 22nd as soon as we were allowed to reopen. So that's how it happened in New York.
Okay. And in your case, Francesco, your gallery had been open only for a few months, actually, right? So how was it?
I mean, we opened the gallery in November 9th, 2019, and then suddenly, like literally behind the corner, we were forced to close. And I don't know, we said bad timing, but there was nothing else to do. We just wanted to keep it open and just going. That, of course, impacted on our program, but it was not there was nothing to be done in that situation, so we had no choice, like all the others.
I see. Actually, I want to mention that you opened with a show of the works of, I already mentioned it actually, of Yayoi Kusama, and I remember there being a long line that went around the block when you opened that show.
No, it wasn't us. That was David Zwerner. But then that's why we decided to open with the same.
On the same day. Smart decision, I say. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show a brief video of the that you sent me of the show of that installation, so people know what we're talking about.
That's not the actual show that was at the gallery. That's a 3D version we developed during the pandemic.
All right.
Because the show was supposed to move to Singapore, and we
Right.
did 3D instead.
And you didn't move it to Singapore.
No, we didn't move it to Singapore because we were forced to close.
Right.
And so that's why we got this design studio from Milan to recreate a virtual space and to recreate the show. Yeah.
All right. Let me show it anyways, and then we'll talk actually about all the virtual shows and the digital experiments that you experimented with during the pandemic. But let me show the video first. I'm gonna share my screen for a second. Let me know if everything is fine and if you can hear it well. Let me go back to stop share. Okay.
Let me also that project was completely. It was both for laptop and smartphone, but the user was allowed. They were allowed to navigate the space and to see everything. It was a 3D version, completely browsable by the user. That was supposed to be a promo video they did.
Right. Yeah, that brings me to one of the topics I wanted to touch on, which is exactly this. I mean, while shut down, many galleries started to experiment with virtual tours, and in general, they increased their digital offer, taking the opportunity to innovate and try something new. What did your galleries do during that time? Was it something that you were already doing, or did you really take the opportunity to try something that was brand new to you and to experiment? Luigi, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, there was there was something new on one hand. On the other side, I would say that, we always been working digitally. Of course, there was nothing else to do at the time. The only way to connect to the people from all over the world was to start actually promoting the program through newsletter, to video or virtual tour, the one we just saw. It was already actually in our program, but we did focus more in that particular situation. And since then we keep doing actually the same kind of promotion of the gallery. Also because you can see in New York, and I guess that's what I heard actually from there. But same in London, there is no traveling at this stage. So of course, the city, it's a restart. There are people working around. There is a big traffic, but as everybody know, the business from an art gallery come from people from all over the world. In October for us was probably the most important period in the area, in all year in London. It's when there are opening of the gallery, when there is a freeze master, and as you can see now that Mayfair, it's almost empty. There's not so many people. So it's still actually the same. It changed, of course, because now we are allowed to go to the gallery. We can do some kind of opening, not big opening, 6 people at a time. The people need to do a reservation to go and see the shows. But more or less, is the only way to connect the gallery and the project to all our collectors from all over the world. It's working by digital. Is the only way, and I think it's going to be like that for at least through the winter and the beginning of spring. I don't see any other way actually to work at this moment.
Right. We're going to go back to the future, but I wanted to talk a little bit about one of your initiatives that you did during the lockdown, which is Mazzoleni branch. You did Mazzoleni branch and Mazzoleni diary. Do you want to tell us a little bit about them? Also, while you talk, I might share the screen again and show some pictures of your website, actually not your website, but Artsy, where the Mazzoleni branch collection is. And if you want to say something about what we're seeing.
Yeah, that's a project. That's a two project that we decided to do during the pandemic. Of course, in the first couple of weeks, we were pretty shocked about the situation. So we didn't know what to do in particular. Then, with the team, we started talking. We started, talking about ideas and to connect our collectors from all over the world to the gallery. And we decided actually these two projects. The branch was a project focused on the contemporary artists we are working, like Melissa Beghil, Rebecca Moccia. They were talking, they were showing some videos, like the one you just point now with the Rebecca with Melissa in Venice. And they were talking about their project. They were explaining actually the work they done at the time, and it was pretty interesting because it was the idea to connect the gallery to our contemporary living artists from New York, in the case of Melissa, and other artists that were actually locked down in Rome or different area in Italy. That was actually the branch. Then the diary was more focused on Italian and post-war artists. So we focus on the particular paintings, and then we describe the paintings. We connect with some history of the artist at the time, some videos. It was just was not commercially speaking the idea of those two projects, but was just to keep the people informed and in a way educated the people that maybe from home there was actually they was not connected to the art world as usual, through fairs, through exhibition, as we say. So it was just an idea actually to promote the artist and connect the artist through the collectors from all over the world.
I see. How did the public react? Did you find that people were interested, were engaging with what you were?
Yeah, I would say in the beginning, of course, they kept time, but because as I say, the people was very shocked in the beginning. So we prefer actually to wait a little bit before actually we start with these two projects. And then actually week after week, we seen an increase of numbers of people connected to this project, and it was successful in a way. So we were happy at the time.
What about Muchacho, Francesco? Did you experiment during the shutdown? Were you trying new things?
Yeah, actually, about the 3D and the virtual experience, of course, we were actually studying that field, but we were forced. We didn't experience anything before. But the first thing we did back at the end of April is a charity auction in collaboration with the Italian Red Cross. We worked from Ian Davenport, Michelangelo Pistoletto, and many others. And we did that the last week of April, and we were thrilled about the result of that charity auction because we had a lot of engagement in it, and we were satisfied on what we were able to achieve and to donate to the Red Cross in that moment. And then we started to actually, we're still, we will launch it next week, but we developed a completely new website that will support 3D platforms. And we will keep doing 3D and virtual exhibition throughout probably the next 2 years calendar. So we're gonna always still, hopefully we will be able to do real in-person show, but also to use a lot our 3D platform. simultaneously. Maybe that will give us the chance to work with new artists and to actually try them on this new market.
Okay, and in your experience, how was the reaction of the public? Were they engaging with what you were offering?
I mean, yes, it's for the charity auction, really a lot. For the 3D show, we need the toughest part is the promotion, because you don't have people coming in the gallery, so you're not able to talk to them. You just have to hope they will, so you have to appeal them by making a good product that they could easily navigate and then find all the information that they want. But we're experimenting a lot of things, but we also have a 3D camera that we purchased, and we put online all our exhibition that we have at the gallery. And that's another thing compared to the 3D space. That is a space that doesn't exist. The gallery you showed the video of Kusama, that space doesn't exist.
So I'm understanding that in both your cases, you didn't really try to replicate the experience that people are actually having when they come to your galleries and purchase what you have in your collections. Whereas many galleries, especially in the States, have done that. So they were actually offering the possibility to the audience, to the clients, to buy stuff online, to buy works online. So I'm wondering, do you not believe in that model? Do you think that an in-person experience is required in order to purchase artworks? Or maybe you just didn't get there, or I don't know. What do you think about, buying art online? Is that possible in the future? Do you see a future of people buying art online?
In my opinion,
yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, Francesco, don't worry.
Thank you. I was saying that I really believe in that, depending on the artwork, and depending if the person already is familiar with the artist, it might be enough a picture to purchase it, but I still encourage people to actually see. But we're just finding the right formula. We were offering the possibility to be contacted through the virtual gallery, but we're still actually finding the good way. But I really believe in that.
Okay, so you're gonna get there. You didn't start doing that yet, but you will.
Hopefully, really soon, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Luigi?
If we are forced to do that, it means that we won't be allowed to do any exhibition, any opening like we did in the past, or any art fairs. There will be the only chance. It's not what I want. It's not what I dream about it, because it's for me the connected to the people, talk to the people, see their reaction with their eyes, see the feeling or describe an artwork in flash. It's not something that you can do digital. But as Francesco said, probably, if we're talking about contemporary artists, that everybody knows, probably something that you can do. But still, I think it's not enough to have the feeling, you have when you get in an art gallery, you see a room, with some kind of paintings. Sometimes, we try, in our case, to have a dialogue between the artworks that we put together in shows. So when you have this feeling, it's another experience. And I think it makes a huge difference, especially when we talk about post-war art, Italian or not even Italian, or even the beginning of the century, seeing something in flash, it's completely another experience. So I really hope actually we will be allowed actually to come back soon, as we did in the first 6 years of our gallery in London. And then we see what's going to happen. We did some sales through newsletter, through emails, like we did in the past. as we say, that iconic work that everybody knows. You can send a condition report, nice images. They know us, so they know that if they purchase something from us, they know that the quality and the condition are impeccable. So this is something that it can work. It did, and for sure it will in the future. But I hope actually we will have the chance actually to talk with the clients to make them happy and with a lot of enthusiasm in the gallery. I hope they will come back in the gallery, probably before even the art fair, which in this situation could be more problematic because you have a lot of people and the social distances is not an easy factor in an art fair. In the gallery, you can have the people, you can schedule, the by appointment, so there are more options.
So how was your experience in these first few months after reopening? Do you see people willing to come back to galleries? Are they missing the live experience of art? And do you think they're going to be willing to go back to openings and events that put together a large amount of people? Or do you think people are still like, they don't know, and they prefer to stay online and safe at home?
But only when this pandemic the situation gonna be over. That's when the people will be easily start traveling, get back to the real world. At this stage, it's hard also for me to imagine myself going around, without any problem. So we need to wait. This is not. I think it's not something that you can expect from them, but it's something that if they are not allowed, if they cannot travel easy, that's a problem. So right. There's nothing else we can do at this stage.
How was in New York, Francesco, in these first few months? How did you find people were responding to the reopening of the gallery?
I think people were desperately seeking to go out and to feel some normality back in their life. But yeah, with caution. So I agree with Luigi as well. It's unpredictable. I feel that people will like to go back to normal, but that might require a bit of time. So, but yeah, during the first, we reopened the gallery basically in July. So July and August for a gallery in New York, they're slow anyway. Imagine during a pandemic. But I feel that people will like to, but they're taking it the right precautions before. But they will love to go back to normal.
So my feeling from your answers is that you're trying to walk on a fine line between trying to engage or re-engage people with the gallery space and being in presence of art, but at the same time, being very cautious. So my question is, do you think that what happened and this new reality kind of changes the relationship between galleries and their audiences? And do you think that this might change the role of galleries towards society in general? Maybe Francesco, you want to start?
Now or now? Yes. In the future,
maybe even in the future. I mean, now, yes, of course, it's inevitable, I think. But how do you see in the future the role of gallery? Do you see the role of gallery changing and adapting to a new society and maybe a new role?
For the next couple of years, yes. But I really believe that we will get back to normal eventually. But I believe that. I believe that people will. I mean, the online experience, it's beautiful, it's technology, but still people want to experience that. So I feel that after all this will be over properly and nobody will be at risk, everything will pretty much be the same.
Luigi, what do you think?
I really hope this situation will help the gallery to have to have the people back like the old days, because I'm talking about maybe 10 or 20 years ago, when the collectors used to come to a gallery, spend some time there, enjoy the shows, talking with the gallerist, spending some time over there, discussing about art. On those days, especially in the last 2, 3, 4 days, too many fairs, they're taking the collectors apart. They don't come in the galleries like as I said, the old days. This is, for me, it's sad. It's sad because when you create when you build a space, when you create a project, and you focus all your energy, with the artworks that you collect from many years, that you purchase, just to do these kind of shows, and sometimes you spend years to organize a beautiful show in the galleries. And then most of the people, they don't even have a chance to come, because they know that they can see a lot of artworks at the fairs, when most of the time it's kind of supermarket, an art fair. You can see everything, but you can see nothing in the same time. So I think, I hope this situation will bring the collectors back to the galleries, and we are not forced to do too many art fairs around the world. At least I just point a few important, but then the rest make the people traveling, and the people that lives in the city come to the gallery, spend some time over there.
Right. Well, it's a perfect opening to my next question, because I wanted to talk about art fairs. And it's interesting to me that you both mention normal or old times. And in a way, normal was also the art fairs model, which is also, though, been highly criticized in the past for being a little bit forceful in bringing galleries around the world, and in promoting a certain type of fruition of the artworks. So I'm wondering if you think that that model maybe already needed to change, and this might be an opportunity to change it. And if so, how do you think it's going to change? Towards which direction? Maybe we'll start with Luigi this time.
Yeah, I think we need to change the society if we want to bring the people back in the galleries, because the people are super busy. This world now is going too fast, in my opinion, and the people don't have time actually to travel for art. If they travel for art, they have too many options, and the art fair, it's a hub which attract many galleries and many options for the point of view of collectors. So I think we need to come down a little bit, like now. Now, of course, we are forced to stay at home, to don't travel like before. But if I have, my hope is to have to have the society a little bit less frenetic, where the people have more time to enjoy themselves and enjoying art, as I say, as the old days. This is my hope. After the situation will be over, of course.
Francesco.
I think the ideal would be less fairs, better quality. In my opinion, there's really too many of them lately. So probably this time we're living will impact on that, and we'll probably have less fairs, because I agree, too many fairs, it will just be a big supermarket. It will just confuse, and there will be no space for enjoying it. It would just, so yes, I think a bit less.
All right. How important were in your business as usual? I mean, before the pandemic, how important were art fairs for your gallery, and how bad it is for your business that you couldn't go to any art fairs throughout the 2020 and probably for part of 2021. Is that a big damage, or maybe it's better? Francesco?
For me, for us, no. It's not a big damage. We were doing fairs. We had fairs scheduled for 2020, three of them, and but it's not a big damage. I mean, the big work is the exhibitions and our program. Fairs are, I don't want to say that, but like sometimes you're kind of forced to do them. But yeah, it's not as big as a damage that people might think. It's not our core business.
How about you, Luigi?
Yeah, it depends of the gallery. You know, it depends if you know how many galleries, how many fairs a gallery do per year. For us, we did a lot of fairs last year and the years back. And I would say that normally what I heard from the colleague from all over the world, a turnover from the gallery between the 60 and 70% come from fairs. There are people that in Basel do the turnover of 1 year in 2 days at the fair. That's how it happened. Not for everybody. I'm talking for the big names, but it's pretty important on those days. An art fair. On the other hand, in this situation, you know, we don't doing fairs, so we're not spending money with the fairs. So we do a lot of expenses. There are a lot of expenses to do a fair. So there is no traveling, there is no insurance, there is nothing, and in a way you reduce your cost a lot. So you know, it's a balance. You know, you can save some cost from art fairs, but of course you need to do some sales through digital or through the few people that can come to see the shows. So you know, it's a balance.
Which brings me to the next question. Did you take part in any of the virtual art fairs, virtual rooms that many art fairs were organizing?
Yeah, we did. We're doing that. You know, we did with Art Basel. We are doing now with Freeze. I think they could help because you know we can send our project to our collectors and using actually their connection, we can expand the contact in a very big way. This is the only way to do it. Actually, that's what it started from Art Basel, I think last March for Hong Kong probably, and it keep going from. I think it would be actually the only way to work with the fairs at this moment.
And do you think they're doing a good job, art fairs, at organizing the digital offer?
It's the only things to do. There is nothing else to do at this moment. You know, there is no fairs. The only way to promote digital, they help actually the gallery to promote their program through their social their connection.
Yeah, but are they doing a good job? Is it working in terms of the presentation of the fruition of usability of?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We can. It's okay. I don't. You know. I hope it's gonna be ended soon. Actually, as I said, you know, I don't like so many fairs, but on the same on the same side, you know, I prefer to do an art fair than doing actually fairs digitally because the result is completely different. But
I guess that changes. Sorry, I guess that changes your work a lot too. Being
yes, of course. But I agree that probably. I mean, if you know, I like some fairs more than others, but I believe probably the future it's a small fairs with a good quality of galleries. And that could be actually much more interesting for the collectors. When you go in an art fair, you have like 200 or 300 exhibitors, it's too much, you know. The people are getting tired. I can see for myself when I go to a fair, say I don't have a booth there, you know, after like a half an hour, I already, you know, it's already too much, you know, for your eyes, for your brain to put attention on what you're seeing, to focus on something. So imagine when you have like 200 or 300 galleries in a fair, it's too much.
Very true. Luigi, may I show? I found a video of the Frieze viewing room. Can I show it?
Sure, sure.
All right, let me share the screen. Here it is.
Yeah, this in particular was something made by the fairs. So of course we send the material, you know, we focus on something. That was the project that we doubt to propose during Freeze. That's a small video presentation of the artist that we will show through the Freeze viewing room. So again, actually, in the Freeze Master, as everybody knows, is focused on the master, you know, on the post-war. For us, it's the focus, but also the beginning of the century. So when we do a fair, so in this case, when we do actually a viewing room, we adapt the offer with the artists that they are related to the fairs in particular.
All right, nice, thank you. Francesco, let's go back to my question, if you remember it. You know, about the art fairs. No, you already answered that. No, well, did you take part in any of the virtual viewing rooms that art fairs are organizing these days? Did you do any of those?
Just Dallas Art Fair.
Okay, how did it go?
It went okay, but it was really early in the pandemic in the US. So, but it was okay. It wasn't bad. But of course the fair, it's all about being there. So it's the viewing room. It can be done really beautifully, perfectly, but it won't be the same thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. All right, let's change topic at this point. And also I want to encourage people from home, if you want to ask questions, this is the right time for you to do so. And we're going to read your questions at the end of the conversation. But yeah, for now, let's change subject. So these are very strange times, as we all know, not only because of the pandemic, but also because of the economic crisis. And in some parts of the world, especially in the US, also because there is a social upheaval going on. And so this question is a little bit more for Francesco, whose gallery is in New York, but I guess it's also for Luigi, who has a gallery in London, who has been through some challenging times as well, and there were protests as well in London. And again, it's also like something that is happening all over the world. So my question to you is if you think that in general, and especially in this particular time, it's a duty of galleries to reflect their times. If you think that galleries should be a reflection of their own times, and if so, how do you think you can account for this particular historical moments in your collection and in your activities in general? Francesco.
Well, obviously gallery reflect their time, but they should also keep their freedom. I can talk about our gallery and our roster of artists. We work with all different artists, but I don't believe on marking them like this is a black artist, a gay artist. For us, we have artists. So I will not like to use their sexuality or their skin color to promote their works. I want to promote their works because they're beautiful and because we believe in that. So I don't believe in using that as a promotion. And I've seen, especially in New York, a lot of gallery doing that as a promotion. We always did that without sharing in the press release something about their sexuality or something else. But we always did that.
But do you think you're going to be able to? This is more about, you know, diversity and representation. My question was more about being able to actually account for the inquietudine. Now I can't find the word in English, but for, you know, for these times of change and need for.
This will be reflected in art in New York. New York is a really emotional city. And I think that we will see a lot of reflection of this rage in the artistic scene of the future, especially in New York. And we will see a lot of beautiful works that come from this rage.
All right. Luigi.
You know, I mean, with the living artist, you know, all the artists during the pandemic, they were doing something. They were creating some interesting project. So if with the living artists, you can use their time and their works and organize something particular, focus on this sad moment that we are living. So, you know, we can compensate the situation we are living with the work and to see the artistic creativity from those talent. We did that, like when we opened the gallery, we created some room with the artworks that some of our artists created during the pandemic, which is fine. You know, I'm not an artist, unfortunately, but you know, the creativity you have inside, sometimes when you're living a tough moment, you really create something special, you know, in tough time, as I said. So probably we will see in the future some good work coming out from this pandemic. I believe probably it's better to show everything now, because it's better to see, you know, the market back like the old days, and see the people, like I say, they're coming to the gallery. So create actually a good exhibition or pop-up shows or something interesting, and maybe focus as a project. You know, a project was done during the pandemic in 2020. This is a history, guys. You know, we're living such an incredible time that we probably we will have a chance to use this as an opportunity.
I want to go back to what Francesco was saying for a second, to the issue of diversity and representation. Because I was thinking, do you have a feeling, because cultural institutions and museums in general, and museums in particular, have been criticized, highly criticized, for having a lack of diversity and underrepresenting certain cultures. Do you have a feeling that that's true, that that's deserved as a complaint, as a critic?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, and especially from museum and big institution, they should make a significant change by giving a positive message, because they have the instrument to create really beautiful and well-organized show that can include the diversity. There's a lot to be discovered, but that's, I don't want to get into museum because it's not my field, but that's my opinion.
All right. And do you think, I'm curious, do you think that that's different in the US than it is in Europe? Do you think the US has that problem a little bit more than Europe?
Probably more, but the Brooklyn Museum is doing a really good job on that.
I agree.
So maybe we're on the good path.
All right. What do you think, Luigi? Do you think it's
there were some walls that's we know that, you know, in the past there was always some problem. I just believe, you know, it's a good time and the people are realizing that there was some problem. On the other hand, so we don't have to speculate this situation, you know. A couple of weeks ago, I received a call from an advisor from US asking me if we have a black Italian artist, you know, to show to their collection, to their collectors. Sorry. So I mean, you know, we just need to be, you know, careful about this. You know, we need to help actually this diversity. We need to bring everybody on the same level, in my opinion, because we are all same. And if we did some mistakes in the past, and now probably it's a good time actually to bring back, you know, in a good way. Yeah.
Right. Okay, before we go to the audience's questions, I wanted to ask something about Italian art in particular, and this might be a little bit more for Luigi because Mazzoleni has more Italian artists in their collection. Do you think this situation made it particularly difficult, especially difficult for Italian art to circulate or to be sold around the world or moved around the world, or as it is for any art?
No, it's you know, the problem I mean, we've been talking about this problem to export art from over than 50 or even 70 years since a while now. It's a big problem in my opinion, because it's not you know, we are not allowed to show and to promote Italian art, you know, to the rest of the world. Especially if we're talking about, you know, post-war Italian art, it's just around like 50 years old or 60. So it's you have chance actually to export from Italy, but older works and then older artists, you know, are pretty hard to move abroad from Italy. And this is a reduced opportunity to show these quality artists to the rest of the world. So we have a lot of example. You know, we have some beautiful artists, figurative artists from the beginning of the century, like Casorati, like even De Chirico or Savinio. They are maybe more international name. That's harder, because if you ask the permission, if you want to export, you have to pass it through a very, very long process, bureaucratic process, and most of the times they can actually stop the circulation of the artwork, which means actually a big damage on the market. So this is a big problem. They move from 50 years as a limit to 70 years. It's okay, but they still can block the artwork, so even if it's 50 or even if it's 70 years. And there is not a clear way to know what kind of works they're gonna stop in case you want to sell it abroad. And this is a problem. As I said, it's not a problem for the market, because this is not only for the market, but as I said, it's the problem to show these artists. They are beautiful artists, well known in Italy, but they don't have an international market thanks to this situation.
And is it the situation we're living right now with the borders closed making things worse?
The border, you mean what the border now about?
Yeah. I mean, right now.
No, I did not. Nothing changed. I mean, as an art gallery, probably the only effect this situation are having on moving work abroad is the cost. because there are not so many shipping transportation at the moment. There is no groupage. We can put actually few works together with the other galleries, and that's the thing. So when you need actually now to ship an artwork from here to New York, it costs much more than when before the pandemic. So this is a problem, yeah.
Right. Francesco, do you have an insight about this?
Man, I agree because I mean I'm talking about my New York gallery and not the old group, but our goal was to mix international and Italian artists, and I feel that in a close future we will have to focus more on American artists, probably. At least that's what we're doing. We're opening a show on the 27th, and I'm just doing it with American artists because the time we're living is kind of complicated for logistics. But we will get back on our program.
What do you have right now in your gallery on view?
We have Frank Holiday, that is an artist based in New York from North Carolina, and we opened the show in February, and then we closed it 3 weeks after. So that's why we still have it on, because I wanted to give him September as well, because it's true we open in July and August, but they're not good months in New York in general. So I wanted to give him a bit of, the old Septembers as well. So that's what we have.
I'm showing a few pictures of the show since we're talking about it. If you want to comment on what we're seeing. Right. That is Frank Holiday. What are the dates again?
The date? Oh, it opened in February, late February, and it will close next week.
Okay, so you have a week to go see it. All right, so are there any questions from the audience, Paolo? I think there are. I see them.
Yeah, there is a question from Laura. Have you noticed how the sensory experience has changed in the audience, if it has changed at all?
Who wants to go first?
I can go. Actually, we had way fewer people than we had before, but at least what I feel back in New York, as soon as we reopened, is that people were happy. Actually, to after 3 months of being pretty much forced into their apartment, they were happy to being able. A lot of comment I get, like, "Oh, finally we can walk back in a gallery." So I feel that they were really happy after it. I mean, less people, of course, but they were happy to be there.
Yeah, same for us. I think to answer the question, we would need to wait a bit longer. So I hope not, of course. I hope we're gonna be back, as soon as possible. But I think probably after like 1 year, we will see, the kind of change we will have from the audience in terms of emotion, as we said, in terms of access to the art world. We will see. It's so new, and we will need time actually to understand, actually, to say something about.
Any other questions?
Not from the audience, but I have a question, and it's this. Have you done in the past events or projects where there was a collaboration with another discipline like music or literature? And do you think there are opportunities? Do you think it's a good idea? Are there opportunities for our galleries in general?
If I can say something, I think it's a great idea, because it's another way to bring more people to an art gallery. which is in a way the art gallery is always seems from people that are not in the art world, or they are not collectors, or they are not fans, you know, I can say that. They see the art galleries as a place where, you know, they are not allowed to go, or like they see they see a gallery like a museum. So I think actually contamination, it's a very good way to bring back the people, like I said in the beginning of our our calls, like in the old days where there was concert, there were dialogues, there were talk, there were, you know, it was everything. The galleries itself was just a place where it can attract people from different disciplines, and then, you know, start actually the conversation and the dialogue between different people, different culture, different passions. So I think it will be it was something that we were planning to do soon. Now probably it takes some times, but
No, it's not really the right time to do it.
Yeah, because, you know, this is not the right time, of course, because, you know, the limit of people allowed in the gallery, so it's so small that you cannot have you know, you can have a proper an event. But it was actually one of our idea, you know, to first of all, you know, as a brand new gallery in London, focus on the art and exhibition, and more educational than just commercial. And then in the future, open to new kind of dialogues, like contamination, like music, as you say, or performance, or everything can help actually people to come to the gallery. This is the way. This is the problem we are living. The people are not coming to the gallery like the old days. So it could be helpful to do this kind of dialogue and project together.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. We never done that, but a gallery is usually a space where people perceive silence, and they feel like they're not even allowed to talk. But it would be good to give galleries another life, and to mix two forms of art, like whether music, performance, movies as well. Gallery would be perfect for movies that are related to the artwork. But yes, I agree that in the future should be a thing that a gallery should try to do.
I see another question from the audience.
Sure.
Ilaria is asking whether you think that the pandemic will work as a sort of selection on artists, meaning only the most motivated can actually succeed in having their work circulate and be seen.
That's I think it depends of the gallery in general. In my opinion, what the lockdown you know, create in this situation, it's you know, first of all, we need to see, you know, if everybody gonna survive about this pandemic, because, you know, as I said, without people traveling, without exhibition, without business in general, this is a tough time. So we need to stay, you know, to stay alive, and then as soon as we will have a chance to get back to our work, you know, have the chance actually to keep going, because financially it's a problem. You know, here in London we try to negotiate with our landlord to reduce the rent. There was nothing to do, and like us, there are many galleries in the same situation. So I think probably the artists will come as soon as financially the gallery has the chance to keep going, to do their job. This is my personal opinion on this situation.
Francesco.
I mean, I think that this is the reality anyway. I mean, of course, only the more motivated one will reach their success. So it's not about the pandemic. Of course, that the question is, as Luigi was pointing, is which gallery will survive, because this is a really big struggle, economically speaking, for a lot of business, and we, our gallery, as part of business. So it's that's more worrying. But artists should, if someone feel that that they should pursue that life and their type of career, they should really put effort and keep doing it. And gallery,
yeah, it's gonna be tough actually, because it's gonna be tough. You know, it's 1 year without doing anything. Also for the new emerging artists, will be, you know, could be a problem. You know, because they're gonna that's sad. That's sad for them, because they know you know, an artist, you know, always try to do their best, and without having the chance to show their works, to work with galleries, because in a way, I mean, bigger galleries, they keep going with their project, but most of the other gallery, you know, they don't have the financially support to promote their artists, so they are waiting, and so on the other hand, the artists are suffering about this situation. So let's hope it's gonna end soon.
Last question for the audience. You're asking if you noticed, have you noticed a change in prices for artworks in this period of time?
Not, in my opinion, not really, but we've been approached by people who believe that in this situation, the galleries, it's almost in bankrupt, so they were offering like 50% of the price, you know, before the pandemic. So I call them sharks, and that's it. But you know, we are in the position we don't have actually to sell our works for, you know, for 50% discount. But maybe, you know, there are galleries, they have to, you know, they have to do something to survive. So it's not a, you know, it's a tough time.
Same. I haven't seen any decrease of the prices, but we had as well some really bad offers. But that's okay. I understand them as well.
All right. So should we say goodbye to the audience?
I think it's about time.
It's about time.
Say goodbye. And I want to thank Luigi and Francesco for being with us today.
Thank you.
And best of luck with your galleries. We need them, and I hope we'll be able to visit them soon. Thank you, Maurita, for your work, and we're going to see you again in a couple of weeks for another episode. And you want to say a few words too?
I just wanted to give the opportunity to Luigi to say what they have on view right now, because Francesco told us that they have Frank holiday. So
yeah, it's a show about Milan and Rome artists. So it's a very, very, very beautiful show. Yeah.
And that's in London or Torino?
No, London. In Torino, next week we'll have an opening with Fontana by and Mazzoleni. It's a show that they did in the '58. So we are trying to recreate the same atmosphere they had in the '50s actually. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So that's all for today, I guess. Okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Luigi and Francesco. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you to the Italian Institute. And see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.